What's up, Jags Nation? It's your boy. You know what this is. It's Duuuval against y'all. I'm your host, Zach. You can find me on Twitter at blind_side_73. Today's episode of Duuuval against y'all, we're gonna be ranking our offensive players in the AFC South. We're not just gonna do Jacksonville. We're gonna try to keep this non-biased. But again, this is just offensive players. We're gonna try to keep this as best possible. I'm gonna try to be unbiased. I know it's gonna be really hard not to rank us on top of everything. We're not the top of everything. We're top of the division, but we're not the top, not individual positions. But if you like this content and you like this episode, be sure to subscribe and to hit the notification bell. You can find all of our other content over at toiletsandtiles.com. If you have articles, mock drafts, player rankings, or all the above even, check out the website. Like I said, that's toiletsandtiles.com. And it's going to have a whole thing for all your interests. And then also make sure to check out our sister network for all your college football needs. And that's at the CFB Nation on YouTube. Make sure to check that out. Check out our Apple Podcasts and iTunes. Make sure to leave a review and keep it so it helps us. If you like interacting with us, you want to interact with us on a more personal level, make sure to reach out to me or Coach Sheps. That's at Coach Sheps on Twitter to look into getting our Gilded chat. And in there, we do weekly mock drafts and all of the football needs you want. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with the offensive positions, like I said, this week. And then, so we're going to start with quarterback, which is being, of course, the most important position group on the football field. So to start, of course, number one is our boy Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the AFC South right now. He's projected. I project him. Still think he'll be able to keep it going for a few more years to come, being the best. I do believe that the division is getting better though, so there will be more competition in the near future. But as of right now, I think Trevor's at the top, and then there's going to be a gap between everybody else. All right, my next pick now for second in the rankings, it's a little bit of a hot take, but I'm saying Tannehill is still the second best. Now, hear me out on this, and all people what about Anthony Richardson? What about C.J. Stroud? What about Will Levis even? Tannehill may not even keep the starting position. All that's true, but Tannehill also has been proven and shown what he has. We don't know what C.J., Anthony, and Will Levis will be. The rookies, we don't know. They could be the greatest quarterbacks ever. They could be busts. We don't know, so I'm going to stick with what we know first. And then I'm going to go down there. I know it's a really weird take, but we've proven with him. Who knows? I mean, CJ and Anthony, everybody's going to the stage be too big for him. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So we go Trevor, Tannehill, and now this is where I get a little. Next, I'm putting CJ. I feel like even though Anthony Richardson is going to be in a better situation and probably will have more highlights plays, like with the rushing yards or his cannon armor thing, I feel like CJ is actually going to be the better quarterback, as a whole quarterback. So I'm going to put CJ third. Then fourth, we're going to have Anthony Richardson. And then 5 is Will Levis. Those two I feel like we could flip interchangeably, but I mean, Anthony Richardson's most likely going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts. I mean, we all love Gardner Minshew, but I think Richardson's potential is too much. And then Irsay, the owner of coach, has pretty much said that we didn't draft Anthony to stay on the bench. So, I mean, he may not start week 1 against us, but I feel like he's going to start fairly soon once the season gets going. I really like him. I mean, as a Gators fan also, I feel like he was good. I feel like we misused him at Florida. I feel like the system didn't work, and then the receiving core being bad, and coach wanted to drop back pass. I feel like that was just a whole mismatch issue. So I feel like he will be good, but I just also feel like CJ is going to be a better quarterback as a whole, while Anthony's going to have more of the highlights he plays. So it's almost like a Michael Vick, Brady type thing. It's like, who do you want? Brady may not have that highlight run or everything, but he's more consistent. And Will Levis, I'm putting at third and last. I mean, I personally wasn't a huge fan of him going out. I know a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to be the best quarterback in the draft. I mean, he fell for a reason. I mean, I do find it kind of funny that the last 2 years, the Tennessee Titans have drafted a quarterback that fell. That one was projected to be a high first-round pick and then fell in the draft. And then neither of them end up being that good. I mean, Malik, Jersey out, but he did not look good last year. And then Will Levis, I feel like it's going to be like a similar situation. It may not be as bad as Malik, but I still don't think either of them are going to be good. So that's why I have Tannehill still starting over them. And I mean, and being the second best, well, they're at the bottom. But that's just, I feel like that's how it's going to grow. I don't think the Titans are going to be that good. So probably near the end of the year, Will get some play time, and then we'll see. The guy go get a quarterback again for the third year in a row. We'll see how that turns out. All right, so the next group we're going to touch on is the running backs. So again, we're going completely unbiased with this, or I'm going to try as hard as I can. So this hurts me to say it, but the best running back in the division is still Derrick Henry. I've been on the record saying I thought he was slowing down, and then for a good half of the season last year, I was looking like I was going to be right, and then he came off and was doing his running thing all over again. I don't think he's as fast as he used to be. I think just all the pounding and hits he's taken over the years it's like slowly catching up to him. But I don't still think he's the best in the division, especially what you understand when you get into circumstances of everybody else. I feel like he's the epitome of that team, of the Tennessee Titans. I'm not sure, like if he goes, I'm not sure if they can go anywhere else if he happens to go down, or like the rumors that they were going to trade him and Tannehill and then just tank for Caleb Williams or May out of North Carolina this year. But as of now, he's still the best running back in our division. I feel like a lot of teams are even drafting to prepare for him. Like even last year in the final week of the season versus in Jacksonville where we played the Titans, I know a lot of us are like, we shouldn't have drafted Trayvon Walker, and we should have drafted Hutchinson. Hutchinson's not tackling Henry like Walker was doing that game. So I feel like part of the reason we even drafted Walker is we know we're going to have to run. Everyone in their division runs the ball. So we have to be prepared to stop that. And the best runners, like I said, is Derrick Henry. Second, again, being unbiased, I think it's Jonathan Taylor. Him and ETN, I feel like I flip him back and forth. But the thing with Taylor is I feel like Taylor's going to start and like going to get majority of the carries. So I feel like that's going to hurt ETN's numbers a little bit, so that's why I'm ranking him above ETN. I feel like he had a down year last year. The whole Colts team had a down year, but I still think he still has explosive. He still has several good years left in him. I know his contract's going up this year, so it may only have like 2 more years with him as the Colts. But as of right now, I still am putting him as second. I think he's an elite back. I think he's probably one of the top 5 backs in football still. So I feel like this year he'll have a bounce back here for the Colts. And then with Richardson at quarterback, so there's a running threat. So that's some read options, RPOs that they can be running with him. So I feel like that's going to help them a lot too. Third is our boy Travis Etienne. All right. So Travis Etienne, I feel like he's good. But our issue with him, where I can't rank him higher, is with the stable running backs that we have now with Jamal Hasty and Ernest Johnson and then drafting Tank Bigsby. I don't think there will be enough carries for him to be like the top 2 back in the division. I think with Doug Pearson, I think is what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to spread the ball out a little more so Etienne doesn't get tired. And then with Etienne's pass blocking and fumbling issues he had early in the season, and then his fumbling he got better with, and then his pass blocking still wasn't the greatest near the end. But with year 2, with Doug Pearson, I feel like he's still going to get close to 1,000 yards, if not over 1,000. He may not have the touchdowns because I think Tank Bigsby is going to be a touchdown vulture, basically. So every time we get down close, I don't think they're just going to give it to Tank Bigsby to give it the big back. And he'll get the touchdowns. So he may not have the yards for it, but he'll get the touchfourth. And then Etienne will be the opposite. He'll get yards, but he may not score unless he gets like long touchdown runs. Fourth, and he's a good running back too, is Dameon Pierce. I feel like he's a hard-nosed runner for the Texans offense. I feel like they're going to try to run it. I just don't feel like the Texans offense as a whole is good enough, even with CJ, for him to get a lead, because they're just going to stack the box on him and make CJ beat him. And so that's going to hurt his rushing numbers a lot. So I feel like he will be 4th in division for elite backs. I mean, it's hard for it to be the only option. I mean, we in Jacksonville, Duuuval County, we know how it went with Maurice Jones-Drew. I think it's going to be basically a similar idea or system. So it's like he's getting yards, but no one else can help him, and he's having to fight for just the 2 yards he get every play. I liked him coming out of the draft. Again, Florida fan, so I liked him. But I feel like he's just going to be just due to the offense. There's no offensive weapons other than him and then maybe Dalton Schultz. They're just going to stack the boxes, so we won't be able to get as much as he should. I feel like he's probably going to get close to – he may get close to 1,000, but again, I think it's going to take him a bunch of carries just to get that far, which is – because I feel like he could be really good. In a better system, I feel like he's an elite back. Like if you put him in like a Kansas City offense, whoo! But we'll see how that goes this year. All right, so if you like to support the team and want to become the top tribes, make sure to check out our Patreon. That's going to be at patreon.com/HorseToTitles. We have several levels of it, so if you can't really afford a huge levels, we can adjust it. So we have all of $1.50 all the way up to $20 a month. So the $1.50 amount gets an exclusive chat on our in the Guild channel, like I talked about earlier, and also into our Frankenstein Listener League, which that's a really interesting thing. Y'all need to check out some of those videos that are on the channel, and that will give you more information. Or if you also want more information, make sure to reach out to me or Coach Sheps on Twitter, and we can help you into that. We have a $3 amount, which allows you to listen to our in-season waiver wire pickups episode. So that's going to be like during fantasy, like, oh, who should I pick up this week type situations. That's really informative. As a league champion last year in a couple of my leagues, I feel like this type of situation really helps you go through and reach your potential with your fantasy team. And then we have a $5 amount that has everything else included, and you have opportunity to get free merch. So, I mean, everyone likes anything that's free, right? So make sure to check that out. We got $750 that have this one-on-one draft advice and DFS advice. So that's going to help you build your draft early, so you don't have to worry about the waiver pickups. You just have a strong enough fantasy team. You could run through your league and win a championship, or help you win the opportunity to win a championship. Let's put it that way. Then we have a $10 one that gets us into our Frankenstein Fantasy League. This is a really cool situation with the Fantasy League. Make sure to check that out. I mean, it's only $25 to get in, so you're paying $15 if you do Patreon as opposed to paying it directly. And then in the highest tier, we have for $20 a month, we have a one-on-one roster analysis. That's going to have 30-minute episodes, which is a longer episode. It's going to break down your league with strengths, the weaknesses, who to try to get, who should you trade for, pick up, anything you do. We'll have episodes that's just for your league itself, so it can help you become better at fantasy or any of your fantasy questions. So, I mean, all these are really good, man. So make sure to check all these out. And who knows, it not only helps us, but helps us help you. All right, so make sure to check this out. So let's get back to the rankings. So my next rankings, all right, so I'm going to do was thinking about doing receivers and tight ends together, but I feel like we should separate them a little bit because they're not always the same. So let's just go with strictly the receiver position. This is, again, all right, so me personally, I think the way Ridley's playing, but being out here is much, I feel like he's the best player, but I can't put him at one yet just because we haven't seen him in about 2 years, so we're not going to show what he's going to do. So my number one receiver is Christian Kirk. He showed what he could do last year. Everyone thought he wasn't going to be worth the money, or we paid him too much. He's never been a one. He's never had a 1,000-yard receiver. And he proved he went over 1,000 yards. He was the number one receiver. He was the number one option. He was still getting touchdowns and everybody. I feel like him and Doug Pearson created a combination that it's opening the league up a little bit. So now, who knows what now with Calvin Ridley's coming, he can be the two, which means he can do door numbers because everyone's going to try to stop Ridley first. All right, so he's number one. Two is going to be Michael Pittman. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's playing like a number one receiver. With Matt Ryan at quarterback having bad games, he did almost get 1,000 again. I feel like his potential's not as good as some of these other receivers as this, but I still also feel like he has proven with him with a bad quarterback, he was able to put up some decent numbers. He may not be he's not like in the Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams to put up numbers anywhere, but I still feel like he is more one he may not be a receiver 1, but he's like a 1A, 1B. So he's close, but I don't think he's right there. But again, I feel like got a shout out to the Colts a little bit. I feel like he's the second best receiver in the mid. Third, we're putting Calvin Ridley there. Again, I know he hasn't played in 2 years, but the way this man, I feel like he is determined to prove that he was who he was in Atlanta in 2020, his last full year. Even when he's playing with a broken foot, but still a Pro Bowl. Taking away for Julio, he was going to be the next Atlanta receiver. Then everything just streamrolled from there. So that was Jacksonville. So I feel like he can become the number 1 receiver. But again, I feel like we got to see what he does this year in our system, and then we're going to go from there. I feel like this time next year when I make these rankings, I feel like he'll be 1 and Kirk will be 2. The Pittman's going to fall all the way down 3. But we'll see how that happens. Number 4, I'm putting Treylon Burks of the Titans. I feel like he is a young guy. He's I don't think he'll ever be as good as AJ Brown. I feel like for the Titans' perspective, they should have kept AJ Brown. But I mean, for Duuuval, I'm glad because AJ Brown is a beast, and I'm not sure if our corners could handle him all game. Both because they'll put him in the slot, put him outside, inside. So as AJ Brown's replacement, Treylon Burks had a lot of weight on his shoulders, and so I feel like he got to him a little bit last year. I feel like he could become the better one, but I feel like right now the 3 guys in front of him, I feel like aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. So I feel like he's 4th in the division, and then 5th, I'm putting the Colts' other receiver. I'm putting Alex Pierce. I was flipping between Alex Pierce and Zay Jones, but with Zay Jones probably going to be pushed down to the Marvin Jones role this year, I could just can't put him over Alex Pierce because Alex Pierce I feel like is a starter. So even though I'm not a huge fan of him, I feel like he does have great potential. I mean, as a young receiver, again, this whole division, this division is young, so it's going to be a dogfight for future. But I still think he could be the best. But we're just going to see how that turns out. Because who knows, he may even take it from Pittman. If he takes it from the best receiver role for Pittman, I don't know. That's a whole game changer for the Colts. Especially with Anthony Richardson throwing to him. They're going to be a good duo. I just don't feel like they're the best duo. All right, now tight ends groups. I'm only going to hit with the top 2 because I feel like the other tight ends aren't great. There yet. Actually, no, let's do top 3. I'll be nice. Well, let's be nice. All right, so first we're going to Evan Ingram. He's the best tight end in the group. Yes, he's having a contract issue, but with the tight end group as a whole in the league not being great, it's basically like even last year we couldn't even tell. It used to be just Andrews and Kittle. Last year we could even count on Kittle consistently. So it's definitely going to have to be Evan Ingram is 1, and then 2 we're going to go with Dalton Schultz for the Texans. I know he had a downer year with Dak in Dallas last year, but I still think he'll bounce back. I feel like he's still a decent tight end. But, the tight end group, like I said, it's not the greatest tight end in the group. Third, we're going to go with Okonkwo from the Titans. I feel like he was showing us up in that last game. So I feel like he's better. And as he gets older, a better system, I feel like he's going to be really good. I think it's just a matter of time with him. And then lastly, I know I said I was only going to do 3, but let's shout out the Colts a little bit. Don't want to make them feel bad after they lose us every year. So let's go with Jelani Woods in last place. I mean, I don't think, like I said, I feel like he's better than Morley Cox. But again, I don't feel like the tight end group in the league as whole isn't that great. So that's why it's just like with Evan Ingram, he's the best one, and then just kind of first down. I mean, last year, the only legitimate tight end all year was Travis Kelce, like I was saying. Kittle we can trust on. Andrews was down. So Kyle Pitts has been down. So the tight end groups in the league, it needs to get better. So if I was like, oh, no one in the NFC South is that good, the tight ends as a whole aren't that great. So lastly, let's touch on the offensive line. So for the offensive lineman, I'm going to rank them by offensive line as a whole. I'm not going individual positions on this because I feel like a lot of offensive line play is as a group. So, I mean, yes, like the left tackles are usually you usually can tell, but then like the guards, most of the time, not always, you can kind of interchange them a little bit. It's not going to have that much of an issue depending on the situation. Like say if you're going against Aaron Donald, it makes a lot more difference than if you're going like a everyday defensive tackle. So for the offensive line groups, we're going to go. I'm going to say the Titans have the best offensive line group. Even with all the departures and everything, I feel like they're one of the strongest when it comes to. In fact, they are the strongest when it comes to run blocking, and I feel like their pass blocking is underrated. So we're going to go with them first. We'll see how that goes. We're going to go with the Colts at second. I feel like they had a really bad year with injury last year, and for their sake, I hope that it was just like a fluke, because I feel like if that offensive line goes down, like it was playing last year, I think Richard's going to be running for his life every play. Even like the elite, like Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson weren't having the normal years. I feel like it was just a bad year all around for them. So I feel like they'll bounce back. I don't feel like, other than like their right tackle, I don't feel like they would have any major their right side has any major holes in it. So I feel like that's what I said. I mean, Titans, again, same thing. They're breaking in a few new players, so I feel like that continuity may have an issue with them. But other than that, I feel like they don't have any major holes. Next, I feel like is Duuuval. Jacksonville. I feel like we have the best or third best offensive line as a whole, but I feel like just because we have a few issues, like we're starting rookies like Antonio Harrison, we don't know how he's going to be on the right side. He's going to be John Taylor. He's going to be better. He's going to be worse. But with Trevor's quick release, I feel like it's going to help him a lot. But again, he being a rookie, again, we got to wake him down a little bit. Brandon Sheriff's getting a little older, so we're not sure how much he's going to. Luke Fortner had to get a little stronger than the offseason. We don't know who's going to be left guard, left tackle. We're not 100% sure who's going to be for the end of the season, depending on how long Cam Robinson's suspension is. It's going to be Walter Little to start, but then after that, it's kind of up in the air. So I feel like that's going to have a major effect. And then so that's why I'm putting them at third. And then last place, putting the Texans. I don't feel like the Texans, other than Laremy Tunsil's offensive line, is that good. I mean, yes, they've had a couple Pro Bowlers on it. I just don't feel like getting Shaq Mason helps, but I don't feel like they're going to be an elite offensive line group. I feel like most of the offensive lines we're all kind of close together. So I feel like that's going to have a huge effect on who's the better one. So we can just see how that goes. And with CJ being a rookie, he's probably going to hold the ball a little longer. So again, that's another factor. So it's going to make them look bad too, because half a second longer you get sacked versus getting the ball out, like with Trevor kicking it out quick. Anthony Richardson is going to run more, so he's going to make the offensive line look a little better. And the Titans just have the best run blocking defense or offensive line, I feel like, in the division. So I mean, that's my rankings. So just a little brief recap. We put Trevor as the best quarterback. We put Tannehill at second best. Then we go CJ, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Then our running back, we go Derrick Henry, Javon Taylor, Travis Etienne, and Damian Pierce. At receiver, we're going to go Kirk, Pittman, Ridley, Trevon Burks, and Alex Pierce. At tight end, we're going Evan Ingram, Dalton Schultz, Okonkwo, hope I'm saying his name right, and John Woods. And then our offensive line, we're going Titans, Colts, Jags, Texans. I feel like that was pretty close. I tried to be as non-biased as possible. I do feel like, but I also feel like we and Duuuval is the best one in the league. So, best team in the division, I mean. So, we're going to go from there. So, even though we may not be best at a position, we best overall team. So, thank y'all for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to tune in next week. I'm going to have a special guest with me on here. So this is Duuuval Again show. Just remember, it's always Duuuval.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these